Hello everybody, it's Julia here, and this is video number 2 for me, which was supposed to be for last week. Seems I've been doing two videos every other week. It just seems to work out well. I go out with my friend Kim, who, she's basically my chauffeur because my car is, well, we're not going to get into that.
Repo.
Oh, hush. I wasn't going to get into that. Grr. I hate you. Yeah, does that mean I'm walking home?
Yes.
Anyway, basically,
Focus.
we go out and we do whatever. So, we have dinner. I pay 1 week, she pays the other, every other week. So it works out, and it's fun.
Fen next week.
What?
We're going to Lübeck Fen next week.
That restaurant's closed.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah. Sad, but he's opening up a couple other restaurants. I don't know where,
You're going to
but
restart your video again.
no, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going to restart it. I already restarted it once, and we want to get out of here at a good time, so I'm going to keep going. Last week's video, last week's topic was something that's in the news, pretty much. It has to deal with all the teen and preteen, actually, suicides that are happening in the gay, lesbian, and transgender community. And it's sad that these kids aren't getting the support they need. There's no place for them to go to even talk to anybody. They don't feel like they can talk to somebody. Maybe I don't know where some of these kids were. Maybe they're living in an area where they have to live a sheltered life, or they might even get killed because of violence, hate. Just recently, there was a member of a school board in Arkansas who wrote on his Facebook page, wrote something about, they expect me to wear purple because of these fags. And said all this bad shit using all this derogatory language, basically saying they got what they deserved, and I don't need, the only time I'd be wearing purple is if they're all gone. Yeah. I will have a nice parade and a nice celebration when he's gone from this earth. People like that are in places of power are why some of these kids think that they have no choice but to just end everything and end the suffering. Well, fair to say it gets better, which is what everyone's been saying. That's the mantra going around. We care, it gets better. People do care. Even if you live in the Bible Belt, deep in the heart of Texas, in Arkansas, in Arkansas, or in the most rural areas of West Virginia, there's still
banjo playing here.
There's still somebody who you can talk to. You might not get the answers you want, but sometimes just talking about it helps. Plus, there are always people online to talk to. The internet helped me big time. I was one of the first people who really used the internet. I was one of the first people in my high school to really use it. We were dialing up, I think, on, I don't know how fast or slow the modem was, but I was getting onto Gopher and Usenet. Yeah, onto these really, really primitive websites, but as the web grew and grew, it became obvious to me how big and diverse a community we have, but how small it is. but how much we used the internet as a way to connect and as a way to find support and figure stuff out, find out information about each other. And there are a lot of great resources out there for anybody. Forget, I think it's Laura's Playground. I think is
Timer is not
one. Yes, it is over here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Laura's Playground, I think, is one of them. That is a, I think it's for transgender teens. There's actually a, or young transgender people. I think that's what it is. I'm not totally sure. But there's a chat room and some message boards on there. There are always chat rooms wherever you want to go. There are groups on Facebook. That's one of the best things you can do, is just use the resources of the web, because as much as in your little isolated area you might not think there is any hope, but if you look out on the web at everybody who is living their life, who's just like you, well, not exactly like you, but, you know, feels the way you do, and they're happy, and they've, you know, gotten past that part of their lives, it's a great resource. And without the internet, and without the community, the trans community on it, especially here on YouTube, the last couple of years through my transition, it's really helped to be able to talk to people, to meet people, and realize that I'm not alone, and that people who are going through what I'm going through, taking the hormones and doing, you know, doing shots, doing everything, are dealing with some of the same things I am, and the same feelings, and it's very comforting. I did try to commit suicide twice in my life. Once when I went up to college, for a couple of months I went to Ithaca College, and I wasn't mentally ready for it. And then there was a legal situation that came about. I don't want to talk about it, but it ended up, basically, I saw the whole world caving in on me, and I almost did commit suicide. But I know now that there are much better ways to deal with stuff. Talk about bullying in high school and middle school. Well, it's more middle school and high school age, these kids. Because when you're in elementary school, you don't really know who you are yet, and the social pressures aren't as much. I know in middle school and high school, I never fit in at lunch. I never could find anywhere that I really wanted to eat. Nobody I really wanted to talk to. In high school, I avoided it altogether most of the time. First, I started sitting with a group of guys who were, one of them was my best friend from like 2nd grade on. And all they wanted to talk about was cars and girls. Typical guy stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna find somewhere else to sit. So I was accepted into the cool kids. Didn't fit. I was accepted into the coolish nerds, you know, the brains. Didn't really fit. I was accepted into the nerds. Didn't fit. I was accepted, my best friend in high school asked if I wanted to sit with her and her girls, you know, all of her friends, and I turned her down. I ended up spending most of my time in the TV lab, and if I ate anything, I would grab it and go back into the TV lab. I just avoided all that. And I avoided getting beat up in high school by producing all of the sports stuff for the TV station. And all of those people knew not to mess with me or they wouldn't get on TV. So that's kind of how I kept from being bullied and beat up. But there was this one kid, scrawny little kid, who always talked about his white trash dad and always talked about, always, poked fun at every little thing about me. He was in my first grade class, and then I never really saw him for a while until went to middle school in 6th grade. And just kept getting worse and worse, and every once in a while he'd be on my bus too. It got worse and worse and worse, and got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. It was him, and then he got one of his other friends into it. And that friend would actually come by my work every once in a while and say stuff. So I was like, you know what? I gotta talk to somebody. So I mentioned something to my mom, and my mom was like, you've never mentioned this to me before, and you said it's been happening for how long? So I told her, and so she's like, well, talk to a vice principal or a principal at your school. So I did, and they didn't do jack shit, which is a problem, and which is being dealt with in some places. Like New Jersey, for example, just there's a bullying bill of rights, I think it is. If they have to stop bullying something. Look it up. I just heard about it on the news. And in New Jersey, there are some other states that have something like that. But I'm happy that a state like New Jersey is where the one 18-year-old college student that really started getting this into the news was, put on camera having sex with his boyfriend. That's what started all of this, all the press about this. But I'm happy that stuff is happening to deal with it. But at the time, my high school vice principal didn't do anything. The principal wouldn't do anything. So my mom and I went to the police. And so we told them everything, and they talked to the kids, and then these kids were scared shitless of me. They wouldn't come near me, and even if I was trying to be nice in the middle of a class or something, ask them like answer to something or ask them for a little help or something, because these kids weren't bad kids. I know they had problems. Most people who bully do it so to make themselves feel better about themselves, feel better about their self-worth by taking somebody else down. So I knew they weren't exactly bad people, but they were like, no, don't come near me. You're not supposed to be near me. I'm not supposed to be near you. So, talk to the police if you need to. But go to somebody if bullying happens. If something like that happens. Don't take it into your own hands. Don't think that nobody will do anything. Because people will. And it's sad, but true, that there are areas where nobody will do anything, but there's always somebody who can help. And as I said before, use the internet, especially for that kind of thing. You can get your information out, and that, let people know that nothing's being done about bullying, nothing's being done about discrimination where you live. So that's it. And if anybody wants to, message me, talk to me about anything, I'm always around. It's Julia Z12345. Alright, I will talk to you later. Talk to you next week, or 2 weeks from now.